My name is Larry Keel, and I'm a professional guitar player and songwriter.
Now, you grew up in Southwest Virginia, a bluegrass, steeped in bluegrass, a bluegrass mecca, Southwest Virginia, Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, and Southeast Kentucky.
Absolutely.
What was the first time you were aware of what bluegrass was? I guess maybe even in performance or just in sound?
I grew up, my father was a banjo player and a guitar player, and my brother played guitar and sang some, and so they were always going to festivals in the region, Galax Fillers Convention, and playing like dance halls and firehouses and stuff like that. So they had a lot of friends that played music, so I sort of grew up around it. And I think the first time I remember, it's hard to tell. I mean, ever since I can remember,
Yeah.
I've been surrounded by it.
But having that influence early on, what is it that's still about that genre of music that keeps you in it? What is it that separates it from other genres?
Well, I just think it's the story of our people, people in the mountains and just hardships and good times and the lives they lived, and I think for me, it will always be in me. I can try to run away from it or whatever and cover a Bob Marley tune or a Jimi Hendrix tune, but it's still there.
Yeah.
You can't hide it. You can run, but you can't hide.
Well, and one of the things I love about it is that you can't hide behind anything on stage. It's just you and that string instrument, or you and your voice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vulnerability, but also transparency to the whole thing.
Absolutely, and a lot of times now we use effects, different effects on our instruments, because really we use a three-piece most of the time, a trio, so it takes everything to sort of make a big rockin' show. It takes our musicianship, it takes our singing, our stage presence, the volume, and the effects too can send it in another direction.
But with that said, though, I mean, you're one of the folks that straddles so many different lines. I mean, you're accepted in the bluegrass community, you're accepted in the Americana community, you're accepted in, I guess you could even say, rock and roll community to an extent. Was that always something in your head of all those different influences, or is that just how the cards fell? Or do you like skipping around like that?
Yeah, for me, I'm a big mix of all of it. I'm a mix of rock and roll for sure, bluegrass, jazz. I love classical music. I just try to absorb every bit of it, and it's influenced my songwriting and to a point where I write a lot of different types of music. I might write a techno style song or a blues song or a rock and roll song or whatnot, and I've just sort of always tried to walk to the beat of my own drum that way, and
which is interesting because bluegrass can be so you're in our camp, you can't be in other camps.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. And for me, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's...
They give you the day pass.
Yeah, they give me a day pass. I'm not in the club yet, but I mean, I love the good bluegrass. I love playing with the great ones, Del McCoury and all that, Peter Rowan, who is, both of those guys stretch the boundaries quite a bit, but I just love it.
What do you see about sometimes, especially with the IBMAs right now, it seems like, I don't know how involved you are personally with them, but I guess bluegrass in general, it seems every generation there's always like an identity struggle. When New Grass Revival and Hot Rise and all those guys came in, people thought that they were going to destroy the genre, and now they're the elder statesmen of the genre, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But what do you see right now when you see, maybe you might see these neo-traditional camps and these progressive camps, and who's what and what's what, and does that even faze you at all? Or?
Well, I look at it as, if something doesn't grow, it's probably going to die off.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like plants and everything. I'm a gardener, so I think that way. But yeah, I think it's really good to see these young bands that go out and, I mean, like Greensky Bluegrass. They're playing to 1,000 people or more just about everywhere they go.
A lot of the Deadheads have really latched onto those guys too.
So I mean, it's not traditional bluegrass, but it's still bluegrass, and the kids like it. And so, to me, I see the younger generation preserving bluegrass music. You know, to where the traditionalist bluegrass people would probably, they wouldn't think that. You know, it's just, they want to play it exactly the way it should go, and that's understandable.
Well, and they also forget sometimes, I think they forget, is that Bill Monroe was a rebel.
Absolutely. He was the original alternative music man. I mean, he was playing blues on his mandolin and playing with piano players and horn players and everything. And I mean, as he always said, this is my music. He created a brand new music.
From everyone I talked to that knew him personally, I don't know if you ever knew him, got to know him a little bit.
I didn't get to know him. I played with him one time and talked to him a bit.
I feel like he would embrace what's going on now as long as you said thank you to Bill Monroe on stage or something like that, because he was always a publicity hound too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the music, Mr. Monroe.
Now, what's it like for you on stage? I mean, you know, you can get in some pretty deep jams. Where do you go in your head when everything seems to be firing on all cylinders?
It depends on the piece, really, but you know, there's a few ideas of like just trying to stay out of my own way. You know, I try to quit thinking so much about whatever the song should be or whatever, and let the song breathe, you know.
If you thought about it, you might lose it.
Yeah, and just, you know, I usually try to think that I'm just a small piece of it, actually, and how I can serve the music, you know.
Well, you're going to be 50 next year?
I'll be 50 next year, yes, sir. So,
is there any justification in your thought process, or maybe some rebirth in how you view things now that milestone's in front of you? It's not old by any means, but I mean, it's something that's probably in the back of your head a little bit. And as a musician and someone that travels and sees the world, is there any kind of rebirth that you see coming towards this turning 50?
Yeah, you know, I enjoy the music more than I ever have at this point, you know, which is a true blessing. It really is. And I'm still writing music and getting ideas, you know, which is wonderful. And I'm surrounded by young members that just have all kinds of ideas, you know, and it keeps me feeling great, you know. The road is what it is, you know. You can let it beat you down, or you can get in shape and feel good and eat good and keep your good energy, you know. So, yeah, I feel great.
Well, my final question is, I mean, you've been performing most of your life, and you tour a lot, and you travel and meet all kinds of different people and see a lot of different, you know, landscapes. Mm-hmm. What has that taught you about what it means to be a human being?
All of the, let me think of this here. It teaches me to have compassion and to be kind, and you never really know what anybody's going through at any given second. So, you know, I think you should try hard to help somebody out along the way, or bring a smile, or like I say at a show, you know, just come out and see us and forget about your troubles, and let's all get on a good brainwave and have fun for a minute.
And that's the beauty of it all. I mean, I think that's why I'm so attracted to it as a journalist, and you're so attracted as a performer. It's this beehive of just energy, and it's almost like time doesn't exist, you know?
Absolutely. It's almost like you can stop time.